So now let's talk about in One Piece. What do you guys think is actually the strongest character now? Like, if you are talking about just, I think it's actually Imo. Imo is like the strongest. Like that's like the example that most people just go for. Like, Imo is the strongest. Like, yeah, some people might talk about maybe someone like Joy Boy or Nika, but from what we know, Imo has been alive since for like I think 3,000 years or something. Imo is at least over 1,000 years, but Nika was there. Yeah, Nika was like the original song god. It might actually not be a different truth. It might be a singer, but that doesn't really matter because we all know that there's nothing about Nika. Like Nika came and he lost. Like literally, there's nobody knows anything about Nika because he most likely lost, and the world government literally took over and like he erased everything. Then 800 to like 900 years ago, it was joyable. Like yeah, everybody had joyable. Like, we've seen exactly, we've seen what it can do, but all those ones like see, it's just like let me say like in football now. You have like a very high possession, maybe 70, 30, but you lost the game. Like it doesn't really matter how good your hack is, how much strong you are, or who you believe you are. But at the end of the day, if you are not him, like if you lost, you still lost. Imo has been ruling the world for multiple years, and yeah, she stayed the ruler, and nobody has stopped that. And one thing I want to talk about again is that I still believe that it will take a very long time before anybody will surpass him, and most likely nobody will surpass him. And why some people like to talk about how Blackbeard is the final villain because he has like maybe he's like a polar opposite to Luffy, and the way like what Luffy likes something, you know, Blackbeard doesn't like it. Like they literally do opposites, but I still believe that I don't feel like Blackbeard being the final villain will make a lot of sense. Like at least for my own list, I didn't really see it happen. Like Emu has been what has been set up since like the beginning of One Piece, and this is not just about Luffy, or it's literally about his father too, the Revolutionary Army, even his grandfather. Is the conflictions that he literally had. Like you could, because when I was trying to like save people, he still stayed in the army despite knowing that someone like a bad guy was actually ruling the world. But what I'm just going to say is that Imo is going to be the final villain, and what I've said about that, unless we actually believe that, yeah, the Blackbeard is better than Bob. Personally, I still believe Imo is a better villain than Blackbeard. Now, some people used to like compare maybe One Piece to like the other big series, and yeah, you can compare them. At their peak, I think it should be around 2011 or 2012 or something like that. All of them, they literally had their time. But now the one that is still ongoing is literally One Piece. The only any other animes like I literally watch One Piece is Dragon Ball. Because Dragon Ball literally has like it has the staying power. Dragon Ball was it like, but One Piece have literally been in existence since like I think since 1997. The manga started 1997. Now, and the anime started 1999. That's like 26, 27 years for the anime. Then for the manga, it's going to like maybe 29 years. But yeah, One Piece has been there. And again, there's what, like, people, one of the main agendas of what people used to talk about is like, Shanks is stronger than milk. Like, why would you believe that Shanks is stronger than milk? Like, I don't really understand. Like, it might look like Shanks is stronger than milk, but no. Like, let me give you some facts here. Is Shanks stronger than milk? No. But why did I say that? You guys will talk about how Shanks has conquered Zaki, how he was flexed out, how he was somehow comparable to like Joy about this. Like, yeah, we've seen it. That's a very good thing. But what you need to understand is that the rarer something is the more valuable and the more stronger. The things that we've seen now in One Piece, like, that are very, very rare. Like, the, the things I can talk about that are rare is like the world's strongest title, and the only other person that I can actually say is the world's strongest was Whitebeard. Yeah, Whitebeard was the world's strongest for some time, but by the time we actually saw him fight, he was kind of already old. So yeah, and what I want to talk about, why Beard is stronger than Roger, because they literally had comparable Aki and all this is, but White Beard still had the devil fruit, whereby Roger is just Aki. Yeah, Roger had all these advanced Aki, but they were in the same era, literally in the same era, and they gave Whitebeard the world's strongest man. Like there has to be a reason why Whitebeard was the world's strongest man, not Roger. Yeah, Roger was the Pirate King, but if you guys remember, according to like something that happened, like the way God actually found this rogue pony gift was he stole it from Big Mom, he stole it from Kaido. Like it was not really about strength. Being the pirate king is not just about strength. It's about how resourceful you are, all these things. Like, yeah, Omita is stronger than Whitebeard is stronger than Roger. And now back to why I believe that Mihawk is actually very strong. Like Mihawk has like one or two things like I can say that above Shanks. Yeah. The first thing is literally the panel that all of us used to talk about, the world's strongest panel. That panel that happened like I think 20 years ago now. Like Oda stated it like since the beginning of One Piece that Mihawk is the world's strongest swordsman, and you can't argue with me. You can't argue with Oda. Yeah, Shanks is a swordsman, and Shanks is not beating Mihawk. But what actually enforced my statement, like what actually made me think that Mihawk is actually strong, if not the like top one or top two in the verse now, is that he has the Black Blade. Like you can argue, you can talk about this thing that the Black Blade doesn't matter, but it matters. Like yeah, the Black Blade actually matters. Because it's what the history of One Piece now. There are only like two characters that had the Black Blade like ever. Do you understand? For we are talking about a world that has history of over 3,000 years. Although we knew like I think less than 800 or something, but for a world that has an history of over 800 years, there are only two characters that have the Black Blade. One is Ryuma, and the other one is Mihawk. That's just something that yeah, these guys like there's something about the Black Blade like. We've seen the God Valley incident. There was Roger, there was Rock still. We've seen all the top chess in the previous era, even the Pirate King. None of them had the Black Blade. Can't tell me that they just chose not to get it. No. I'm sure they tried to get it, but they couldn't get it because you have to be him. And I'm still going to come back to it. Like, you have to be him to be able to get it. And New York is just him. And one of the reasons, and even Shanks fans, they were talking about how after all these years that New York has not so much to like. You guys remember when we were still, I think, around 1,000 episodes or something that even with Shanks, it took a very long time before they actually showed his feet. And when they showed his feet, we knew that this guy was not just, Oda is actually keeping me up. Like, me up has, like, the final war, the way the final war will happen is that Luffy will gather like allies to actually fight against the world government. He will fight him like, but we've actually seen what the world government after. In the world government, I'm talking about Imu's army. Imu controls the Celestial Dragon, the Holy Knights, and the world government. And some of the world government they've left them like the swords. The swords are not really part of the world government again, but they are just there for the vibes, but they are not really part of the world government again. So is Imu strong here? But one time I want you can actually jump someone that is very strong. So you actually need like and I believe that Mihawk is literally like Imu's number one soldier, like the world's strongest swordsman. Has like two meanings. One is the world's strongest swordsman, like literally is the world's strongest swordsman. The second meaning is literally is the world strongest swordsman. And who is the world? The world is literally Imu. Like yeah, we know that Imu is literally the world. He has been in control of the world, and that's literally I think that's like his name. By the end, the way it's going to happen, maybe by the final after Luffy, all of them they pull up on Imu, and who are Imu soldiers? We've seen Figali, that guy is a fraud. Most of the Holy Knight, they literally relies on their like regeneration power. They don't really have much. They don't have much of it. I don't think those guys are doing anything to support him because even when Sabo infiltrated the marriage at then, we had Imu and the five elders. Although Imu was not good like because he didn't want to like destroy their bases, but Sabo literally escaped. Like those guys, the only powers I actually feel that Imu has currently is literally Akainu and this and Shamrock. Shamrock has to be strong because it's the way he was portrayed as Shank's brother. And when they were like doing the flashback, then it was shown that it was above Shanks in terms of rank. But you know that ranks is not literally everything. So there might be other things involved. But I believe that Shamrock is at least as strong as Shanks. He has to be as strong as Shanks or very close to Shanks level. So Shamrock has to be in. So if you're talking about from the side of drug government, yeah, they have the Marines, but let's be honest with ourselves. Even vice admirals that they pack some punches or this, they are not that strong. Like we saw how they perform. Like they were performing well against other, but once it gets to like the level of like maybe lieutenant, captain, or someone like Sanjo, so those vice admirals are not doing anything. Those guys are food. That's the only strong ones that the admirals and Akainu is the good. Like yeah, people used to forget that. People used to like there's still another something called people used to like see so this thing, Blackbeard and Luffy. But people used to forget that one of Luffy's top enemies to is Akainu. Like literally, it was literally Akainu that killed this. Yeah, it was Blackbeard that set up it since it was because of him that the war started. It was one that like adopted Ace and like gave him to the world government. That's why the War of Marineford actually happened. They betrayed what was the name of that girl that stole his devil fruit. And then they betrayed Whitebeard too. But Akainu literally marked is in front of Luffy. Like I believe that Luffy's age, although Luffy doesn't really have a trade, I don't believe he literally has a trade like that. But I believe he should actually hate Akainu more than he hates Blackbeard. Because yeah, Blackbeard is literally a pirate. He's doing what every pirate would do. They are hustling for the same. It's just guys like Luffy that are going to save them. Most pirates won't save them. We've seen how Kid operates. Like Kid doesn't care about a random person. Like everything that Kid does literally something that benefits him. If it's not going to benefit him, he's not going to like go into the like most pirates don't think the way Luffy. Even Law say, although Law is a little bit better than most pirates, but Law has his size that are not like you can't really say that this is as good. Like Akainu is a worst enemy to Luffy than Blackbeard. The way I see Blackbeard going against Luffy is that they have like different ideology. Yeah, they have different ideology. The way they think is literally they are like polar opposite, but that doesn't really mean like Luffy blaming Blackbeard for Ace death shoes. That doesn't really make sense because yeah, it was Blackbeard capturing the ball. If you are going to be a pirate, you should be ready for the consequence. That's literally one of the consequences of being a pirate. Like, he has to know that if I'm captured, they're going to send me to what's the name of that Impel Down. And he knew that and he still became a pirate. He literally had a grandfather, like an adopted father. Gap was literally a grandfather. He trained them. He was training them to be a pirate, and we know how that happened. Ace became a pirate, even Luffy became a pirate. Luffy made any chance was like literally what pushed him to become a pirate. Although I believe that Luffy too would have most likely become a pirate, even without mutations. But you are a pirate and you are why the Marine might have their problem, but they are literally like the police of that world. So I really blame them for taking his down. But literally the person that marked was Akainu, not Blackbeard. So I still believe that Akainu is someone that Luffy is like more hated enemy to Luffy than Blackbeard ever was, because Blackbeard they just have different part. And now that after Godfather, some people are like sympathizing for Blackbeard because no, I'm not going to sympathize for that guy because that guy has done many bad things. Like it's literally see when you're talking about pirates, Blackbeard is literally what pirates are like. Those Somalians pirates. Like, Blackbeard is what is like the legit definition of pirate. Because most pirates that we are seeing in the series, they are not really pirates. Although maybe it's because we are looking from the POV of the show. That's why we believe the pirates are like that. But Blackbeard is literally what a pirate should be. And let me go back to my experience. Like Mihawk is like I believe Mihawk should be like maybe top 2 or top 3 currently now in the verse. Like Mihawk should be top 2 or top 3. I'm talking about those people alive. No. And even if we are looking at throughout their history, it should still be maybe around top 5 or top 6. But let's talk about people that are alive now. The undisputable number one is Emu. Like, yeah, she fought against the Sun God, then against Joy Boyland, even fought Pick, this guy, and Domi reversed Gogstan. He has literally cleared many generations. She has been on like a gauntlet and she has been winning since. Yeah, she has some PTSD. Like when Just Boy Zaki was released, she had the PTSD. She wanted to like follow that. Those things are more of like trauma, but that doesn't really mean she's weak because she literally defeated them, and you can't really say that that's going to. Yeah, she's literally strong. Then this for the number 2 number 3. The way I'm gonna look at it is that I'm looking at both if like the what the story is telling us and the situation. Because there are 2 characters I don't know who to put in number two, number three. One of them is Milk, my goat. Like that's one I believe is number two. But there's say another character that currently I believe might actually be on the same level or might even be stronger than Milk, and that's Dragon. For Dragon to be the world most wanted man, and for him to be like the leading force against the world government, he has to be strong. Like that's like no brainer. Like he has to be strong. This is not about this is not agenda or something like me. Has to be, Dragon has to be strong. He has to be very strong. And if he's not strong, then it doesn't really make sense because Dragon is like the point pick. And before people start talking about what about them Rogues, what about Roger, what about Webber, those guys were strong for their time. But we all know that new generation surpasses the old. And yeah, the new generation surpasses the old. Like Shanks is and thank God for I think the previous chapters that came out, like Loki has shown us that he could go toe to toe with King Gergod. I'm talking about armed King Gergod. Like Loki could go toe to toe with him. And do you know who King Gergod go toe to toe with? King Gergod went toe to toe with Rogues, and even their conquerors like splitted the sky. So we know that to some extent King Gergod was actually relative to Rogues, and you can debate them around, but they were kind of like on the same level of strength. And we've seen Loki going to with them, and later, many years later, we heard that Shanks, maybe Shamu, some people are saying it's Shamu, but most likely Shanks took down Loki. So if Loki is already above them, is above Rogues, Roger level, and Shanks took him out. It means current Shanks is definitely above Roger. Like you can talk about the agenda, all these things, all those things are fun, but when we get to like the real things, the current generation has, and who is above Shanks, the world's strongest one. Like forget about Akima stuff, all this. Like Shanks is Mihawk is stronger than Shanks, and that's pure fact. And the definite proof of it is Blackbeard. Like even when they're fighting. Even when the Rocks and Gojo were fighting, they created a blade that was very similar to blade. So they could like achieve a semi Blackbeard level to be able to like match him to some extent. But Mihawk has already achieved that. Like Mihawk is definitely stronger than Shanks, and it's not even close. Like you guys need to I won't say it's not even close, but Mihawk is definitely stronger than Shanks because Mihawk is literally the world's strongest one, and sometimes you just need to like talk about it. It's very logical. Mihawk should be stronger than Shanks, and the thing is that I feel like the Mihawk's fate will be a little bit fun because I actually believe that even Zoro might not defeat Mihawk on one-on-one because Mihawk has to. If Zoro could defeat Mihawk on one-on-one, then by the ending of the season, Zoro will be relative to Luffy because Mihawk most likely has already reached like the ceiling of the verse. But in terms of strength alone, because we've even seen Zoro like coins Wano asked Zoro cutting someone like Kaido. I don't believe that someone like Mihawk won't be able to do that. Like Mihawk versus Kaido would be like maybe a mid-G fight, but Mihawk is going to die that gap. But Mihawk has this is not about glazing, but I still believe that Mihawk's fate, Mihawk will most likely side with him. I'm not saying that he's with him, but something once or another might happen. We most likely side with because Imu's side actually needs like because currently now we've seen the only thing Imo side does is literally the only knights with generation and maybe Akainu, Fujitora, and what's Green Bull. The rest of the vice admirals are fooders, and I don't even read those guys. Like they are literally fooders, and I don't read them. If you read them, that's your own thing. The Marines are literally not ready. But then we have the other side. We have someone like Destroyer, we have Destroyer Grand Fleet. We even have someone like the other emperors. We have Shanks. You have people like Blackbeard. You might say like Blackbeard and Luffy are like enemies, but literally both of them are Luffy is trying to become the Pirate King. Blackbeard is trying to like rule over the world. So their enemies literally. So literally it's like the whole world against the world government, but the world government is not strong enough to resist the world. So they need like an ace. And Mihawk is literally the ace of the world government. Mihawk has to be the ace. So what guys think, sure? So currently now, if I'm gonna rate my top characters in the verse, now let me say top 10. I'm gonna say maybe Imu number 1, that's still alive. Top 10 characters that's still alive. I'm still Imu number 1, Mihawk number 2, Dragon number 3. I can swap Dragon and Imu. Like the country president for my number 4 spots. I'm gonna say Shanks. But Shanks is actually strong. The fact that I'm saying that Mihawk is stronger than Shanks doesn't mean Mihawk Shanks is weak. I will rank Shanks currently now among characters that are still alive as number 4. Imu as number 1, Mihawk as number 2, Dragon as number 3, Shanks as number 4, for my number 5. Blackbeard. I'll say Blackbeard because the thing about Blackbeard is that that guy, most of his friends are off screen, and the fact that he was able to like scratch Shanks even before the film, it means that he has something. Like Blackbeard has to have something. I feel like Blackbeard is literally hiding his power because Blackbeard has to strong. Therefore, number 6, I would say Akainu. But Akainu might actually be stronger than Blackbeard, but Blackbeard has the darkness free, so it is very complicated. So for my strongest, I would say Emu, Mirok, Dragon, Shanks, Blackbeard, Akainu. That's like, I think that's 6, right? Those guys should be like top 6. Like they might actually, apart from Emu, they might actually switch places. The funny thing is that the difference in strength between them is not that much. Like despite me saying that Shanks is number 4, he might still lose to someone like he might lose to someone like Akainu if the situation doesn't favor him or the situation is somehow. So the top, like even the top 10s, the difference in their strength is not that much. For the number 7, I would say someone like, what can I say is that strong again? I know that Luffy currently now, maybe Shamrock, yes, Shamrock. Shamrock. Like yeah, it's kind of strong now, but let me list my top 10s again. I'm talking about Dragon, Emu, Dragon, Mihawk, Shanks, Akainu, then Shamrock. No, I forgot this one, Loki. Current Loki upscale is very crazy. Like Loki has to be top 10. I'm talking about someone like Emu, Dragon, Mihawk, Shanks, Akainu, Loki, Shamrock. And then why I say Aokiji was able to like fight Akainu for 5 years. I believe that Akainu actually has. The funny thing is that Aokiji should have a stronger kid than Akainu, but because they are devil counteract, so that's literally why Aokiji Akainu won. If not, they wouldn't have fight for like 10 days. So I'm talking about Emu, Mihawk, Dragon, Blackbeard, Shanks, Blackbeard, Akainu, Shamrock, Aokiji, the Gorosei. Let me just pack all of them and put them together. But I believe that Luffy is actually stronger than the Gorosei, but he can't really eliminate them. Current Luffy can't eliminate them. Then maybe I would say Luffy. Or maybe Kaido, depending on how you actually speak. Because Kaido was, that fight was when he was holding an island. They were like fighting, going up and going down. So currently, let's just end the live here for today. So I'll see if I can still come up on live again to discuss some things later. So guys, bye.